Today I have decided to talk to you about a very serious subject, probably the most serious subject we could talk about, besides life and death of course. That would be money or finances. As you should know by now, all the financial ratings agencies have already downgraded South Africa to junk status, except for one, Moody's. Moody's is the only remaining ratings agency that has not downgraded South Africa to total junk status already, but have warned on a number of occasions that should South Africa's debt rise any more, they would have no choice but to follow suit with the other ratings agencies and declare South Africa and the Rand junk. Okay, I think we should investigate what the consequences will be if Moody's did downgrade us to junk status. Recently, ENCA had an interview with Tom Bloom, the electricity expert regarding Eskom and their operating losses. In this interview, he mentioned that Moody's have stated that if the country's debt rose any higher, they would have no choice but to declare the Rand junk. He also stated that the consequences of that would be that the Rand would collapse almost immediately. I agree with this statement. In this interview, Tom spoke about a 32 billion Rand bailout being sufficient to trigger a downgrade. So what has happened since then? Even though Eskom's debt has risen to a level approaching 500 billion Rand, it was decided in their infinite wisdom that even though Eskom was the biggest financial risk to the country, it had to keep it running so that it could borrow against its own future earnings, which theoretically don't exist. Tito Mboweni recently not only granted Eskom, which is a failed and hopelessly badly run state-owned enterprise, a bailout of 23 billion Rand and a further 59 billion Rand over the next 2 years. What this has effectively done is to push our debt to GDP ratio over the tipping point, and I think Moody's will now have no choice but to downgrade the Rand to junk status. So what does this mean for the man in the street? That's you and I. Well, if you are one of the lucky few who still have any money in the bank, know this. As soon as the Rand is declared junk by Moody's, the Rand will collapse. Your money in the bank will lose its value almost overnight, and your savings will disappear before your eyes. You will still have the same amount of rands in the bank, but those rands will just lose their value. This is exactly what happened in Zimbabwe the day the first farm was expropriated. Within 24 hours, the Zim dollar lost 75% of its value. The same is going to happen here. To add to this, the government, in another attempt to raid any money that still exists, has indicated that they are going to pass legislation that will force pension funds to invest in these same bottomless pits they call state-owned enterprises, like Eskom, SAA, SABC and the like. Either way, your money is as good as gone unless you do something to prevent it right now. If you look back in history, there have been numerous instances when the currency of a country has crashed. In all cases, the only thing that has maintained or increased in value has been gold. In fact, it is almost certain that the value of gold has the opposite effect to that of the currency. This means that as the currency collapses, the more value or the more valuable gold becomes. It makes perfect sense that to preserve the value of your savings is to invest it into gold. Now, if you went out and spent your entire savings on gold Krugerrands, your wealth would be preserved, but it also poses some problems. You are not able to go shopping and pay with Krugerrands. So in essence, your Krugerrands are pretty much worthless to you when the banking and financial systems have collapsed. This does, however, not mean that Krugerrands are actually worthless. They are just worthless as a currency to use every day. So what can you physically do to isolate your savings from the coming and inevitable crash of the Rand? Ironically, the answer is still gold. At this point, you might be confused and wondering why I just told you that owning gold is useless, but now I'm saying that gold is still the answer. Keep listening. As I said, owning physical gold will definitely preserve your wealth, but it is not convenient to walk around with a pocket full of Krugerrands. No vendor can accept them. The answer is to revert back to a gold-backed currency. Now you might be asking, where would I find a gold-backed currency? And that would be a valid question. What would you say if I told you that such a currency does exist? Not only does it already exist, it is backed by a full banking system and is already in use. What the system is a financial system where the currency is completely backed by gold and your funds are pinned to the value of gold in dollars. I can already hear you asking, what if the dollar crashes? Well, what did I just say earlier about what happens to the value of gold when a currency collapses? it goes up, and normally it skyrockets. Let's say we have this gold-backed financial system based on gold and pinned to the dollar. The dollar collapses and the value of gold rises sharply. As the dollar devalues, the value of gold moves in the opposite direction, thereby mitigating the effect of the failing value or the falling value of the dollar. Are you curious yet? If you would like to hear more about this financial system, some of us are already using with great success, stay tuned for my next video, which I will be releasing shortly. I will not only explain to you exactly how the system works, but I will also show you how you can make use of this system to safeguard your savings from the inevitable crash of the South African rand and save money in the process. Sound good? Stay tuned. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it on as many other social media platforms as possible. It's the only way my message gets out. If you have not subscribed yet, now would be the best time to do that. While you are at it, click on the bell icon to be notified of my next exciting video where I will teach you how you can protect your wealth while at the same time not be funding government's corruption and theft. If you would like to support my channel, I've made provisions for local as well as international subscribers to be able to make contributions. There is also an option for those wishing to support my channel with cryptocurrency. To those who do support me, I am eternally grateful. Until next time, stay safe out there.